Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Terry TV. I'm Terry Hardin, pop icon and Disney Imagineer, also internationally trademarked artist. How are you all doing? Whoop, whoop. Good to see you. Good to see you. It's Friday. I thought that I really didn't have a lot to say until after I had had put up my thumbnail. And then I realized that Lou Gossett had died, had passed away. And I got to tell you, Louis Gossett Jr. was a really, really fine man. And I had the blessing of meeting him, I'd say probably a couple of years after his Academy Award that he got for Officer and a Gentleman, of which, if you've not seen that movie, it's an incredible movie on several levels. First of all, Louis is phenomenal in the role. He really does get to you. But every actor is a tremendous actor in this film. And it's as many said, it still holds up. It's an older film, obviously. He was pretty young when he did that. And of course, Richard Gere, I think, was also quite young. And Debbie, can't remember her last name. But anyway, they were all quite young, all very good. And, if you haven't seen it, and you do see it, we can talk about it at another time. I will tell you right now, that which you see on the screen is not always what is real. So you'll be very interested. It's a really fun scene, very fun. It's a very interesting movie. It's heartfelt, not necessarily always fun, but it will pull at your heartstrings. And I think you will enjoy it. Anyway, Louis Gossett Jr., I'm a big fan of his. And I was at Disneyland years ago when I was crossing to go on to Star Tours. And when I was crossing over to go to Star Tours, I crossed past him and stopped, like often you do. And I walked over to him and I whispered, "You're Louis Gossett Jr. and I love your body of work." And he said, "Please don't shout it." Because he was there with his family, very interested in enjoying having a good time, not really wanting to have oodles of people gather around him. And now he was pretty well known because of his Academy Award. And I was so excited to meet him that it was hard to contain my enthusiasm, but I suppressed it. And then I said, well, I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed it. And I headed for Star Tours. And I was trying to remember, but it might not have been Star Tours. It might have been the Mighty Microscope ride. That's how far Journey Through Inner Space. It might have been that. And because the corridors are a little different for Inner Space than they are for Star Tours. So it could have been Journey Through Inner Space. In any case, when I turned, he was behind me. And so his wife says, "Talk to her." And so we had a chat while in line to go to this attraction about his body of work. And he asked me what I liked about the movie. What was it? And I said, well, I just, have been told by my father often. I told him I was mixed races. And I said that my father often talked about boot camp being the part where you get the learning experience, you get that tough experience. And although it's not about boot camp, it is about the Air Force and before you get to fly planes for a living. And it was great. He was great. He was sweet and wonderful. His family was adorable and kind. And it was really a nice addition to the normal things that I do when I'm at Disneyland. So it was really fun. So Louis Gossett had a nice, strong life, an advocate for diversity. Me too. And it was exciting. It's very, very exciting to have had the opportunity. So I wanted to talk about him a little bit and say, you will be missed, but we'll join you later. In any case, this car commercial, I on Wednesday last week I knew there was going to be a car commercial filming in my neighborhood on my street because in order to film in the city of LA or the LA County, you have to have the approval of all the people on the street. If you're going to, shoot down that street or you're going to shoot at a particular house, it is a rule in entertainment that you get the permission of people in the surrounding areas, and this lets them know what you're going to do, basically, and that this is what they need you to do. So on Sunday, they came around. A very wonderful lady came around, and she handed us a paper because each home has to sign off and approve it in writing so that they can keep it in their log. And it was a VW car commercial. Will I see that car commercial and be able to see the houses around it as my neighborhood? I don't know. But it was really fun. I had my cup of coffee and I sat on my bench swing and watched them go back and forth. So I would usually show you these videos in my studio, but I will show you this way. And then next time, I promise, when I get a chance, I will show you the other way. But here is, let me just get to it properly. Here is what I saw. Here, I will show you. There's my yard. And see the camera car and the car. So there they go, that direction. And then if we go well, let me not do it that way. If we go the other direction, which is coming from the other side of my street, there, really good shot of the camera. And there they did. And that's basically what they did, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back. People often say that commercials are the movie industry is so glamorous. And at times it can be. But a lot of people who are in it, like myself, will tell you there's a lot of waiting around. So you bring a book, you bring a newspaper, a puzzle, a project you're working on. Maybe you're studying for school, you do that. Maybe you're an illustrator, much like myself. I used to do a lot of drawing. Perhaps, you can't paint or anything, and you can't sculpt or anything. But sometimes you just sit around and shoot the breeze with others, or you take a rest in your trailer if you're that actor who gets to, be in a trailer. I do get a trailer when I do Outrageous Pumpkins. So a lot of times I have, just give me 1 second, guys. There we go. Is her last name? You had no idea what that meant. Yes, sometimes when someone's doing a good deed, you got to just take a minute and get them moving forward in their good deed. Anyway, yeah, it was great because it was very early in the morning, and I'm usually up early in the morning, sitting on my swing and watching my dog run around while I have a cup of coffee. And this time I had the coffee, but not my little dog, because she would have been barking, and we don't want that in case they have sound. But I'm pretty sure that what you saw, that camera truck going by and then the car going by, is MOS, meaning with mit out sound, is the way I like to say it. But that way they can put in music or they can put in sound. They don't have to worry about the atmosphere, and they will try a lot of times if they need what that atmosphere, then they'll do that after everything's not moving and quiet and silent. But the street was blocked off on either end. They shot for about, I'd say, back and forth. And I would imagine it was different camera angles, maybe a little bit wide, and then maybe a little more into the windshield. Maybe, different type of aspect ratios with the camera. I think that's the words. But because of that, that's why they were going back and forth. Now, to me, I'm not going to know the difference because they keep driving back and forth. But it still was fun because there you are, and birds are tweeting and everything, and then you hear the car come by, and they pass by, and that's the way it is. The reason I think they chose my street was not only is it beautiful, but it also has no speed bumps. So they could go at the pace that they wanted to go in order to get what they needed for the commercials. So lots of fun. I love when they shoot in Hollywood. I love when we shoot in Southern California. It makes me very happy because when I was first growing up here, they were shooting all the time. And that was very exciting, to be able to see them film various things around our neighborhood. In fact, at one point when I was 14, I had hand painted my jeans with characters from Disney. So I hand painted my jeans. I wish I still had them, but I don't. And I hand painted them, and I was in them when I rode my bike over to a nearby gas station to see a series called Barnaby Jones with Buddy Ebsen. Do you remember the series? Barnaby Jones. And they were filming Barnaby Jones when the first AD, first assistant director, yelled down to me from a crane that he was on, and he said, "Hey kid, where'd you get those pants?" And I said, "I painted them." So he hired me to illustrate director's chairs at $35 a chair. So they would shoot on location, and then I would then follow them. So they'd say, "Okay, Terry, we're going to be shooting up in Encino, and we're going to be shooting at this address. Meet us at this time." And I would drive my car up there, and I had a pen, and I just illustrated everybody's director chairs and made 14 years old, made pretty good little living doing that. It was fun. Like Buddy, he wanted a sailboat, and he wanted like Mickey Mouse, sailing, because he was a big sailboat person. So that was really fun. And then I brought my Art of Walt Disney book, and he signed it for me in several places. So should have shown you that today. But this is what happens when you are this obsessive creative who you just create at a moment's notice, and you don't really think about where that creation is necessarily going to take you, but it often takes you someplace. So create, because it's good for you. Don't resist that creative spirit, because it's good for you. But it massages your shoulders and takes good care of you. And if you're out there saying, "I'm not an artist," or "I'm not creative," it depends. What makes you passionate? I've often said, what is it that makes you passionate? And that is your art. So I have a bookkeeper who is very passionate about being a bookkeeper and the numbers and crunching numbers and a lot of the totals she can do in her head. So it's great to have someone that passionate about it, because they really speak to you artist to artist. They do, numbers, and, it's a different media that you're working in. Some do paint, some do photography, some digital, some 3D printing, some clay, some in that as theatrical or cloth. But then there's also numbers, people working in numbers. And I remember as an Imagineer, when I was in house, there was a guy, and I may have told you this story. He had one of those giant floor polishers that goes around, you know what I mean? And he's at the top, and it just goes around like this. Well, if you've never handled one of those, the torque on them is tremendous. And this was a fairly smallish guy, about 5'5". And I watched him, and he effortlessly just would go over the floors of WDI, or WED, as you may know it, Imagineering. He would go over, and it would just glide, silently all over. Often as an Imagineer, if you have a deadline, you would be staying late. And I walked out, I heard this little nice little whir or whatever, and I walked out, and there he was. And I said, "Man, you're a master at that. That's a real art that you're doing there." And he blushed, because he said, "No one has ever said that to me." Yet if I told him, if I had a hold of it, I would not have been able to control it, and probably drilled to China. So every person, if you look at every person as an artist, and think about it, let's just talk about this a little bit, okay? Segueing from someone like Lou Gossett Jr., was an incredible actor and artist, in my opinion. And then you have me telling you about various things that I've just spoke about today on these different levels, right? Every part of it could be an art form, right? It really could if you think about it. So don't tell yourself you're not an artist. Tell yourself you are. It just may be that your materials or your palette is different than that which you most commonly think of. And if you think about it, as I started to say, if you think about it, it makes sense. Okay. You go to a grocery store and there's that one person that you always try to get to because for some reason they're extra lovely. They double bag. They have a smile. You don't have to work hard. They don't price check doesn't seem to be a problem for them. And that is someone who is an artist at what they're doing as a cashier. They just love it so much that it's water off a duck. They always have a smile. It's a fun experience. That is the difference between an artist versus someone who's in it for the job, right? It's just a job. I need to get from A to Z. Oh my gosh, I just started and 5 minutes feels like 5 hours. You've been with those people too, right? Where they're just marking time through life, So what you may or may not realize is that you've been looking for the artist, that bus driver that greets you if you get on the bus, and the person you always call if you need a car, or an Uber driver. You're specific because they're upbeat and jovial and kind, and maybe they open the door for you. Little tastes that just are special. That server or that chef, which chef is very artistic to begin with, but there's those who are chef and those who they just cook. Okay, get to A to Z. Gee, many Christmas, what am I going to fix tonight? And it better be fast. You know what I mean? So if you're passionate about what you love, you are an artist, okay? And I know this is kind of a unusual segue, but this is the way I work. Go from a car commercial into what is an artist. It's the way that the TERRI TV works. It works like this. Yep, this is the way it works. It works like this. Also, I wanted to share with you that we in Southern California are ready of a mess. We're going to have a huge storm coming as of tomorrow morning. They warn it could be tonight. So guys, if you're traveling, be very, very careful. This is one of the worst kind of storms that California has been getting. One that comes in and doesn't move out quickly. Like California is worse. California is familiar with the storm that comes in and goes out. Often it will rain at night, and then by day it's great. But lately, and I think the one that really pops up in my head is the hurricane in August when I walked the chalk walk in a hurricane. Nuts, absolutely insane. All right, but I did it, and I'm still wondering why I had a brain fart that day and did it. But integrity is all I can tell you. I promised I was going to be there, and I was there. But oh man, hindsight being 2020, it wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done. It was a good thing, but it wasn't a smart thing. But it was a hurricane that sat on top of us. If you're from Florida, okay, do you remember Hurricane Ian? And I was supposed to appear at a Give Kids the World event, which is another amazing charity. And I had said I would love to be a part of it. And they said, well, come along, And we were going to fly out and everything. But Hurricane Ian, which Orlando told me it was going to be no problem. It was going to go across the Gulf and into Texas. And Hurricane Ian decided, you know how Mother Nature is. And you know how God is. You make plans, God laughs. My husband quotes that often. It was amazing to see Ian turn and go right across Orlando. And the thing that it did that was devastating for Orlando is it didn't just go back over to the Atlantic Ocean like he should have. Hurricane Ian sat on Orlando, probably wanted to go to the Magic Kingdom, and he sat on Orlando and just rained and rained and rained and rained and rained. In fact, if you see any kind of YouTube footage on the Hurricane Ian and Florida, it will blow you away. It will truly blow you away. Not only was there excessive flooding, but there are two images that I could not get out of my head. And that was, we're talking about storms now. Yes, because there's a big one coming. Don't take it lightly if you're in Southern California, is what I'm trying to say. A storm that sits on you like a goose laying the golden egg is going to cause excessive flooding, thunderstorms, in some case hail. You just don't know. So, and it's going to happen on Easter Sunday. So just figure indoors and try to just drive as safely as you can, okay? Be aware, be awake. Don't be doing things that maybe you would normally do and you're not supposed to, like texting. Just please be careful. These Californians aren't as savvy with rain as Floridians are, as Seattle is. We are used to not getting rain, but now we're getting it and we love it. I love rain. But this one is a goose egg storm. They call it something else, like a jet stream or an airstream or whatever. I call it the goose egg storm because it just is coming in, and it, according to the Doppler, it's going to plant itself like it's watching its favorite television show and eating popcorn. Okay. And that just inundates us with water. So be ready. Back to Florida and me flying out to do this Give Kids the World, which I never got to because they said we're flooded. Our venue is flooded. We're going to have to postpone, which I was sorry to hear. But hey, my husband wasn't real thrilled about me flying into a hurricane. I mean, who does that, right? He says, please, honey, not you. So the pictures afterwards was a guy who had sliding glass doors to overlook a lake that was outside his property. And instead, if this area here is his door, is his sliding glass doors, the water was right to here. And there was an alligator swimming right here, a big alligator just outside his sliding glass doors. Can you imagine? All I could think of was, oh, I hope they hold. Oh, Lord, I hope those hold. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you thought you were at the Aquarium of the Pacific because it's a gator. Like he was doing his gator thing. And then a family posted on YouTube. They were on the second floor of their home while a gator swam on their first floor. So they were all up the stairs looking down, and the gator was swimming around in their living room, in their den, in their kitchen, probably looking for snacks. They were talking very quietly. Welcome to Florida. Woo-wee! I said, oh my goodness. But Orlando was not prepared. They kept thinking, there's no way it's coming here. There's no way it's coming here. And then Hurricane Ian thought, well, I am coming there right now, and I'm going to sit. And that was the problem. It went down. They were worried it was going to be like a Category 4, which is a hefty hurricane, right? But it went down to a 1. The problem was it didn't move. So it was a level 1 hurricane, but it just sat there. But in the same place. Okay. So in California, we had our first hurricane in years, and it sort of did the same thing. It sat, and we were like having meltdowns because we're not used to hurricanes either. We're really used to sunshine, followed by sunshine and more sunshine. Okay. We pray for cold, okay, because it's warm and sunny here. And I'm often praying for cold and the occasional rainstorm. But this year and last year, and the year before, I'd have to say, from 21 to 2024, it's been so. We are, doing the best we can as Californians. We do not do well in the rain as a body, as a whole body of California. Northern California does better than we do because they're north, and they usually get most of the rain that comes across because they're in the north. That's why they're greener and cooler. I mean, cooler as in you can wear more sweaters. Like today, it's a cool day, so I'm wearing my sweater. I pulled it out, and it's like a little Christmas sweater, but I don't care because I don't get to wear sweaters much, and it's soft and lovely. So that's why I'm wearing that. But that is the deal. So today is the last of our sunny days, and then we go into Monday, maybe Tuesday with rain, depending how long it decides to sit. And that's the idea. So, right? For a while, the reporters were not, the weathermen were like, well, we don't want to get you excited. We're worried or blah, blah, blah. They didn't want us to worry about a storm that was coming because they weren't sure it was going to stay. But then now they're saying not only is it going to stay, but it's really going to stay. And guys, just be prepared. Be prepared for hail, lightning, thunder, wind, and lots of rain. That's what the report was today when I woke up and watched it. So I wanted to impart it out to you because, I don't know how many of you watch the news. I love to watch local news. And no matter where I fly in the United States or even out of the country, I like to watch local news. That's the first thing I do when I get into a hotel room is look for the local news channel because I just love to hear the different local news. And I'm not a news person, okay? Because lately, as you all know, news isn't great. But local news has a different flair to it, a different taste to it. They still cover the stories, but they also pepper fun stories in there too. They'll do a few because today was, not only saying goodbye to Lou Gossett Jr., but also celebrating Beyonce's new album. I mean, this new album is something I might even like to have because it has like songs you can sing to. She's actually taken country songs in many cases and combined with the country singers in many cases and sang the song. One of them that I found really incredible of Beyonce's new album was called Jolene, and it's a redo it's her version. Let's say that again because it's not a redo. It's Beyonce's version of a Dolly Parton song. Now, many of you may not know I worked with Dolly. It was wonderful to work with Dolly Parton. She is every bit as wonderful and charming and adorable as you see her on TV. There isn't a mean bone in the woman's body, and she's so generous to a fault. I was just blown away by such a wonderful woman. What a joy and what an honor to have met her and worked with her. So Jolene is one of my favorite songs, but this one is great because instead of being the version that Dolly sang and wrote, where she's begging Jolene not to take her man, this one is You Better Not Take My Man. It's Beyonce saying, the claws are coming out if you even dare, Jolene, to come near my man. The claws are out and we will go round and round is basically what the song infers. So it's very empowering. It's like, it's not the woman saying, please, which was kind of the times, right? Now it's the woman going, just try it, sister, and so I think that's why I like that song so much. But she also did a lullaby that is very cool. She did a She did several. So the album is getting rave reviews. It dropped last night, and I heard about it on my local news. And the woman who does the entertainment, because there's something going on at my Channel 5 News where they're all sick. And so they've been isolating because they don't know what's making them all sick, or they do, but they've had to isolate because it's been knocking them all over like flies, and they're working really hard to stay well. Or how do you report the news? Because local news has just a handful of people, and KTLA 5 has been my favorite since I was a little girl. So I used to go visit them when my dad worked at KMPC Radio, which was their sister radio station. So it just means a lot to me to be watch that channel every single day. I am a KTLA-ite. And I noticed I'll wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes, most of the time, and I'll watch from 5 until I have to broadcast. And then if I'm working in my studio, I'll have it on because they have news all the way till 2 p.m. And then I switch out and have a movie on or something. But it's just to catch the stories as they develop and hear about things like that. And I love the different reporters. So they're like family, aren't they? If you have your local news, they're like family. So these guys are like family. Yeah. So anyway, enough about that. Let's see what you have to say. I'd love to hear what you have to say and what you think about the various things. But this new Beyonce album, I'm not much of a music person. I love music, but I dance to it, so I can't have it in my studio because I don't get any work done. I'm like, doing my thing. You know, um, dancing. So it's very hard to sculpt when you're dancing. So, or paint when you're dancing. So I watch a movie that I've watched a million times, and I watch it with my ears because I can play the scenes in my head after watching it a million times, i.e. Star Wars. Yeah, I can put Star Wars on and quote it pretty much, but I have seen it a few times. And if you know my history, you know I've seen it a lot. This is the original one, the one from 1977. Yes, indeed. So that's what I usually do when I'm sculpting is play a movie. The other one is Downton Abbey. I love Downton Abbey. Can quote that one too. All 6 seasons and the movies. And Zatoichi. Well, I can't really quote a lot of Zatoichi or Lone Wolf and Cub, but those are 2 others I know really well. Even in the Japanese, I no longer have to read the Japanese because I watch them so often. So, yeah. So basically, there you go. That's kind of my thing. So this Beyonce album is something new to me, and she happened to talk about it today, and then she played Dolly Parton is one of my favorite Dolly Parton song is Coat of Many Colors, which I was able to tell Dolly that was very special to me. And then my other music experiences that I met John Denver. I had every John Denver album in my collection, or as you guys say, you young upstarts out there, you call it vinyl. Same deal. It's the big size, not the CD size. And it's not the MP3. It is actually a working album that goes around on a thing called the turntable. And I had every album. I loved John Denver. I cannot necessarily tell you why over others, but I like the Beatles, John Denver, Grand Funk Railroad, and Casey and the Sunshine Band, and Jethro Tull. Loved Jethro Tull. More classic than his modern stuff, but and then I also liked Yes and Tubular Bells and The Who. So I had an eclectic when I was younger, but now I also liked Vivaldi. What? But anyway, but all of it I moved to. I actually would either sing out loud or whatever. And my dad, as I told you, worked at the radio station. And so when he was at the radio station, many of you have probably just gone through the D23 Hades event, which is you tried to get tickets on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and it was not fun. Can I get an amen? For those of you who did that, my tribe was all telling me they managed to be successful, but it wasn't for, none of them said I just went on, got my tickets and left. But they were on for hours, and the thing crashed and all kinds of horrible things that happened. And they were getting nervous and sad. Well, this was my situation with John Denver, except we had no internet, no computers, no phones like we have today. Back in my day, phones could be used as a murder weapon. And let's face it, smartphone is not going to hurt anybody. But my point is that unless it's what you say on there, so watch what you do. But anyway, I was in line for the amphitheater at Universal Studios, and the door, serious true story, at 16, the door came down, and the last 2 tickets had been sold just as I was about to go up to the window. I remember coming home and looking at my dad and saying to my dad, I'm good. I can listen to my albums. I don't need to go see John Denver in person. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'll be fine. And then I cried and went into my room and wept because I was really upset that I'd missed out on tickets. I mean, he was it was so close I could taste it. And then you guys all know what I'm talking about. If you've just gone through this D23 event or you've done a Run Disney thing, you know what I'm talking about. It was painful. It was really painful. And then one day my dad called me. I think it was a couple weeks. No, it couldn't have been, because it was around my birthday. It was around my birthday in June. And my dad said, come down to the radio station, which I often did, to see my friends there. And I met a lot of the announcers there, like Gary Owens and Roger Carroll. I got a great Gary Owens story, but we'll save it for another time. But the point is that I walked in. You have to go through. There was security. You had to hit a buzzer and say, hi, I'm here for my dad, and I'm Terry. And they buzz you in, and then you walk down a hall with everybody's smiling face, framed on the on the wall of all the different announcers and things, radio announcers and executives and whatever. And I walked into a main area where they kind of crisscrossed to go to various recording stations and various playings, because my dad was an engineer. He played the records. And then the announcer was, hit the button and do the talking. You've seen it. Much like a podcaster. But my dad walked in and said, I have a surprise for you. And he stepped away, and it was John Denver. I mean, seriously. Right there, 6 feet away, the one, the only John Denver, who smiled at me and said, I hear you didn't get tickets for your birthday, and handed me 2 tickets, 3rd row, center seat. And then he said, this is my personal invitation for you to come and hear my concert. Knock me over with a feather. I almost cried, but tried not to. And I said, thank you. And I was just nothing but a smile. And then he said, what's your favorite song? And I said, Grandma's for the Bed. And so when I was in concert with my friend and we were sitting 3rd row center, he looked at me, winked, and said, here's a song from my friend TERRI HARDIN, Grandma's for the Bed. And I just lost it. So music is really special. And this Beyonce thing, I am so grateful to her for having an album that has words that I can sing to. I think that's what her cowboy album is. Just, I was so happy that everyone they did had words, and I think and they're good. They're really, really good. They're really, really thought out. And so I didn't know a lot about Beyonce. I don't know about the newer recording artists, with the exception of Taylor Swift, because how can you not know Taylor Swift? I mean, I could live under a rock. She's like Michael Jackson. She just poof. She's everywhere. I think that just like I said before, that if she went into space and she landed on the moon and there were moon men, they would know who she was. So I'm one of those under a rock people that happens to know about her, because how can you not? Plus there's lots of people in my tribe that just are gaga over her. So it's kind of cute. But anyway, let's go see what you have to say. I have chatted enough. Let's see what's on your mind. Okay. All righty. Diane says, very cool commercial on your street. It's just fun. I do the Foster Farms chickens, which if you're on the West Coast, you know what they are. They're for Foster Farms. 2 chickens driving a beatable car. If you dig on the playlist on the very channel on YouTube that you are on, if you're watching me through YouTube, you can watch those commercials. They're very funny. They're very special. They're very lovely. Dear to my heart. We haven't shot them in a couple of years, but they are very, very cool, and you will enjoy them. Shooting a commercial anywhere is a lot of fun, but when they come to your street, it's like family. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Look at there. And it was just cars driving by, but it was still fun. Happy Good Friday, everyone. Busy day today. Yes, indeed, Joe. It's Good Friday, and Easter is Sunday. You may have to do your Easter celebration today just to be safe. But then, many people celebrate Good Friday. I mean, not here, maybe here. But we saw today that in many areas, people carry crosses on their shoulders to signify the pathway that Christ walked, that Jesus walked. So, there's all kinds of ways you can celebrate Good Friday. I don't know if I could do that, but it was really cool to watch today. Yep. Hello from Facebook land. LOL, trying something different today. Happy Good Friday, and have happy Easter too. He is risen, said Jacob. There you go. See, tend to sometimes just get the right statement out of my mouth before I comment. So that makes me happy. Welcome, Jacob. I had a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, says Joe, to get my test results back in October. I took forever getting them. I think he means it took forever getting them. Seems I have a mild case of diabetes, so I'm taking medication for it now and for at least the next 3 months. Just a tiny little pill once a day. Well, congratulations on the tiny little pill. But also, Joe, your doctor probably said if you up your exercise, that tiny little pill could disappear. Not, you can't find it, but actually not have to take it anymore. So I'm glad it is just a tiny little pill. And thank you, doctor, for giving him that diagnosis finally. What a life you've experienced, Terry. You're talented. You're so talented. Thank you, Diane. You're very sweet to say that. I think that if you talk to a lot of people who are in the entertainment industry, we got lucky, or we were in the right place at the right time. Because one of the things you'll find out is sometimes it has nothing to do with your talent. Now, I did a lot of building and a lot of puppeteering, so that did, but there were times it did not. You follow me? It just was, there I was doing something clever and interesting, and someone saw it and said, which is why you always need to create, right? Because you never know who's going to see it and go, like it. What can I do to get you to do more of that or whatever? Yeah, it's really mind-boggling sometimes, but it's a lot of, being in the right place at the right time, a lot of luck, a lot of faith, a lot of confidence, which is not always what you get out of actors and artists. They always tell you they go through this imposter syndrome, which is a shame, because on the outside we look in and go, man, they're fabulous. They can't possibly feel like they're putting one over on us. But many have said that they do. And so, that's why I'm saying get that voice out of your head and keep creating and doing something special with your creative talents, because I think everyone has it within them to be an artist. You just have to have the right voice. And I hope right now it's mine you're listening to. Thank you, Diane. So kind of you. Good afternoon. Hello, Miss Linda. She says, good afternoon, everyone. I don't know about you, but I love putting these up here. It's just nice to talk to y'all. Hey, Terri Hardin, I just heard this story about you riding the Jungle Cruise all day and how it inspired you to become an Imagineer. And I was just wondering if you could share that story. I can share that story. I loved Disneyland as a kid. And like many of you, couldn't afford it. Back in my day, it was a lot less, but the same situation. My family had to save up for it. And so it became we're going to go once a year and synchronize your watches, or we're going to go once every couple of years and synchronize your watches. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And I think in the early years when we would go, I would ride every ride because I loved Alice in Wonderland. Mr. Toad's is still a favorite of mine because you can go to hell and come back. And I just love that. I'm sorry. I just love it. And then there was the Jungle Cruise. As a young person, I did some sculptures for the World Wildlife Foundation. I'm a charity person. I love to do stuff for charity. And so the only thing I ask is that I be invited to the gala on which they're going to sell my work or put my work in the auction. I want to be a part of it because no one can talk up my work better than myself or you, right? If you do a piece of art, you're going to be able to explain what it's like. So, for example, in Terri's Tribe on Patreon, and while I'm thinking about it, let me just show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll get back to this story, Jacob, of me and the Jungle Cruise. But I want to be sure and let you guys know about Patreon. Patreon.com, Terri's Tribe is a place you can go where I really dig deep into some of these conversations that I'm doing publicly. You may not know it or not, but publicly, it's probably a good idea to refrain or avoid certain subjects, politics, because you're not going to convince the person that you're trying to convince that their person is not the person that should be running the country. Let's just say it like that. You just won't. Okay. If you talk about certain movies and somebody loves that movie and you don't love that movie, it doesn't mean that that person is bad or you're bad. It's just that you guys are not going to agree on something. So you agree to disagree. Basically, what I'm saying is that there are certain subjects, not necessarily politics, but I'm a mixed race girl. So I talk deeply about diversity. I can talk in generalities here about diversity, but in the tribe, it's a closed door so we can get more specific. People can ask questions a little more direct than we can here. You follow me? So also we can talk about art that pertains to you specifically, and that is patreon.com/Terri Hardin. It's about what you have to say. Your voice is just as important. In fact, in many cases, more important. I learn from all my tribe every single day. And for $5 a month, you get 2 broadcasts, each one before this one, and a Zoom call with me every week. Okay. Unless I'm on vacation. But I warn you. Okay. I tell you when I'm going to be on vacation. But right now we're talking D23. We had a Zoom call last Monday about how to get tickets. Many people are really good at getting what they want quickly. And so I invited them for the tribe to sit and talk frankly about what was going to be happening with the new D23 venue and how to get these much coveted tickets without losing your mind. So it's stuff like that. It's many, many things like that. It's a great place to just dig deeper into the stuff here. $5 a month, like I said, a jar next to your door, throw a quarter in it every day, and you'll have that $5. And it entitles you. Now, there are higher portals to go through, especially if you think I'm giving you more than $5 worth and you have the means. But I leave it at $5 so you all can be a part of it if you wish. So please consider it. It's a great opportunity. It's wonderful. And we all talk about what I'm going to sculpt next. I'm asking you, what should I do? I ask questions, we have debates. It's just a great place to be, and it's a safe space. Okay. So I hope you will consider it, put some skin in the game and join us. All right. Okay. Back to your comments. I had to do that little commercial break because that was very important to chat with you guys. So before, I'm just going to go down here, and he talked about the Jungle Cruise. I'm going to pull that one back up. So what happened with me when I would go to Disneyland with my parents and my sister is they would say, come back at noon for lunch. And we would go in all various directions. Well, my parents didn't have to think too long about what direction I was going. I was going to the Jungle Cruise. Reason being is that I sculpted a lot of animals. I created a lot of animals as a young kid. Animals were my thing. I love lions, tigers, and bears, lizards, all kinds of creatures, and dogs and cats living together. All of that. And I would sit back in that day, if it wasn't a very busy day, and often my dad would take us during the week, is I could just ride the Jungle Cruise around and around and around and around and around, and I would sketch. And the cast member there, which if you're a cast member, this is you, your kindness abounds. They said, what you doing? And I said, I'm sketching these animals because I just think they're exquisite. I love this ride. They move so real. It's just so fun to see sculpted animals. I've done them on a smaller scale, blah, blah, blah. And they said, these are all done by one amazing man named Blaine Gibson. He is at the helm of this attraction. He did 90% of it. And I went, Blaine Gibson. And they said, you're going to have to look it up. So I immediately, after we got back from Disneyland and I had a good nap, because you know how that is, kids play hard, and so did I. The next day, I looked for things like Wonderful World of Disney, where I got to see what he looked like eventually. And then I just combed every newspaper, magazine, asked people where I could learn about Blaine Gibson, and I learned about Imagineering, which the cast member told me where they build everything, and my feet were set. Now I wanted to be an Imagineer. But one's journey is rarely a straight line, especially if you're a creative person. It's more like this, isn't it? And that was mine as it went. And a lot of rejection letters were sent to me with that mouse on it, to the point where I hated that sorcerer hat rodent, because I could paper my house with these rejection letters today. But I finally got hired, and yeah, finally met Blaine years later, which was a joy. A young man named Louis Garcia had a convention, and I was a special guest, and he sat me next to Blaine Gibson. What a lovely day. There's nothing like having someone you've admired all your life turn to you and say, this stuff is amazing, as they hold your work in their hands. Just, no money in that moment is as important. I mean, money's important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fool. But what I am saying to you is that your head goes boop, 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 when, and your heart goes kaboosh, 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 when someone you admire says, this stuff is beautiful. You really have an ability. That is more than tongue can tell. So that's, but like I said, again, I'm drawing, sketching while writing the Jungle Cruise because I love it. And I'm sitting there creating. And what did it lead to? Thanks to a wonderful cast member, it led to my WGI, WDED experience at Imagineering. And I got to design the Dragon's Lair. Another battle, but a fun one. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you for asking. That was very sweet of you, Jacob. And was it the same exact skipper, or did you get a new one every time? No, mostly the same one, because we just went like this. So it was the same one. And that's when they could, use the gun, which I like when they use the gun. I think that's pretty cool. They don't hit the animals. And yeah, so you just like what you like, right? Hello, Linda. Welcome. And there is Mark. I feel good now. Jacob asked a wonderful question that I got to tell a story. So, Mike, you always ask, and I appreciate you checking in on me every single time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's my girl, Jenna. I had to ask her last name today. I knew what it was, but I couldn't. I was in the middle of broadcasting, Jenna. I was like, oh, no, I can't think of it now. So I sent it to my friend, because my friend and tribe member, Jenna's a member of the tribe. And we have the youngest member of Terry's tribe on Patreon, and her name is Bella. And she's an amazing young woman now. When I met her, she was, what was it, Jenna? 7, I think. Maybe younger, but she had never seen the dragon. And we met at Disney Paris, and she was dressed as Snow White, and she looked absolutely stunning. She was adorable. And we just took to each other. And I asked her if she'd seen the dragon. And she said, the dragon. And I said, let me take you to see my dragon. And she may have seen it before, but it's interesting to see it with the person who created the attraction, which is yours truly. And we became fast friends. So we've been friends ever since. She's grown up into a lovely young woman. And we visit all the time, me, her family. I've gone out. I've gone to the UK to visit them. It was only a lunch, but I would like to go to the UK again this year and spend more time with them, because I love them. I love her. So one of the other members wants to send something to this amazing family. So I needed the last name, because she needed the last name. So, always doing good stuff. The tribe is a great place to be. Patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Go check it out. Try it for a month. And if you decide you don't like it, then you can go. And we won't go. We won't do any mean gestures or say mean things about you. We'll just tell you sorry you're going to leave us, because we consider, when you show up, we consider you family. We oh, sure you're going, but we understand. You can get busy. You move, whatever your deal is. Maybe you get tired of social media and you say, hey, Terry, I got to go because I'm not going to be on social media anymore. And I go, well, if you're ever in the park and you see me, say hello, that sort of thing. So consider it. Linda says, hope you're looking forward to a lovely Easter. Just got the record. I'm over all of this liquid sunshine. I'd be happier when the rain is in the rearview mirror. LOL. Well, I'm laughing because, Linda, I have a garage sale coming up, and they're talking about maybe rain again next weekend. So I'm like, could we skip Saturday? I'd really like to get this garage sale stuff into the hands of those who want it. But hopefully this weekend we're going to get lots of rain. There won't be sun. So batten down the hatches. Batten down the hatches, mateys. I could have done a voice, but this time I thought I'd use my regular voice. Hang in there, Linda. And that rearview mirror is going to happen maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. So maybe you go up and see your mom now, and then you sell it. You just stay there the weekend so that you guys can have a good Easter. You won't be driving on the road. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a real mean one. Jeanette says, I sympathize with the Floridians who had to deal with this flooding. We had 2 flash floods, though, in our neighborhood in southern Utah some years ago. Our berm saved us. Yeah. I mean, flooding can happen everywhere, can't it? And many of you in other states have had this, right? Yeah. Whew, yeah. It's something. It's something. Californians are like, what? We're getting more used to it, though. I don't know if that's a good thing. Jeanette also says, happy Easter. You are sounding a lot better today. Yes, I am going to go and find out what the deal is. Because, by afternoon, the voice is really kind of raspy and raw. And I'm like, we don't put these things off. So that's the deal. Yeah, that's the idea. And that's the deal. Joe says, speaking of Beyonce's new album, people are going crazy, talking all kind of mess about her and about this exploration of hers in country music and the Black experience. It's exhausting having to listen to all the whining. Yeah, I'm with you, Joe, because you're a musician, right? You're a writer. And maybe, well, let's take Stephen King, for example, a perfect example. Someone who wrote horror. And then all of a sudden, known for horror. Sometimes the books were way too thick for story, in my opinion, but he was horror king, scary Stephen King, the king of scary kings. And, but then he writes Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. What? And I remember going, what? And then found out that this is what he truly loves to write, but no one would buy it. When he first wrote something like Shawshank Redemption, they were not interested. When he wrote something like Green Mile, they were not interested. Now, he didn't write these early, but what he was saying was, when I wrote these kind of subjects, people weren't interested. They wanted it or The Shining. So he finally gave into it and started writing and became very, very successful. Then he slowly branched out into what he likes because he's already got that strong reputation. Now, did he get some pushback? I'm sure he did. But at one point, he writes this Shawshank Redemption, and someone says, let's give it a go, Stephen. Let's greenlight that mother. And it's so good that we're like crying because it's so good. And then the Green Mile comes along, with Michael Clark Duncan in the role of John Coffey, and we're like, oh, it's so amazing. 2 really great films that aren't, they have chilling happenstance, but they're not scary movies. They're not It, A Clown with a Red Balloon. Seriously, not, and when he talked about how this is what he's always wanted to do, but he didn't get the support. Okay. But he has the right to do it because he's an author. Nothing says you have to stay in the same genre. Whoopi Goldberg, actress, does children's books, as do many others. Gina Davis does a set of children's books. So is it wrong that she does that? So let's take Beyonce. Beyonce is in her genre, so to speak, but she wants to try country. I've often thought that if I was going to sing, I'd like to try country music. I think it has a wider area for a larger range of voices, if that makes sense. My opinion only. Do I know? No, not a clue. But I just think that, there are people out there, Joe, who just want to complain. And Beyonce's a big deal. Okay. She is someone that has won countless Grammy Awards, and she's killing it out there for whatever reason. If you don't like her music, well, okay, there's other people's music out there that you can know and enjoy. And Beyonce does strut her stuff, and some of the things she does aren't necessarily anything that I would like, but it doesn't mean that she shouldn't do them. She's an artist, she's a creator, she's experimenting. And with this album, I think she nailed it. Okay, I have only heard snippets of it, but I have not wanted to buy vinyl in quite some time, or get the Spotify version or the Audible version or whatever you go to hear music. I don't, I'm old school, so I have to be. But my point is that this is lovely. They showed some of her outfits that she wore. She was wearing chaps and she was looking very sexy. That's not really to my taste, but she's a rock star. She is a star top musician. So her look is her look. I love the silver hair, the giant silver hair that just fans out. She's on a silver horse with silver hair. It just is adorable, gorgeous. So, the chap's a little wild for me, but she's a show person. She's a performer, and she has a look that she wants to maintain, and she looks great. What would I have her wear? She has the cowboy hat on. That's what I would say she's got to wear, and she's got it. She's got the cool cowboy hat on. So I don't know. I think the other thing that she did, or her team did, behind every great artist is a team, a good team of people. And I think whoever worked with her and advised her on this album and everything, saying to pull in, various people like Willie Nelson, and things like that, only enhances how great this music can be, So I don't know. I have to disagree. I disagree with a smile. It's really cool. And I don't listen to a lot of music. But today on the news, they did the Beyonce thing. And I was like, oh, Beyonce. Most of her music is not really to my taste. But this album, shot through the heart. Anyway, I really did like it. She did not sing that. But I really did like it. And the one I really love that they sampled today is Jolene, which was my favorite when I was a kid because of Dolly Parton, and now is a favorite because she's made it more of the, the woman who says, don't you dare instead of please. And don't you dare come after my man, because you're going to have problems, sister. And we all love that, I think, especially women, which I am one. So I really like that. So there you go. And I agree with you, Joe. Whining is not for everyone. Have a little cheese with that wine. Why don't you? Here is the amazing Janny. Janny is a part of the tribe. And I started to talk to you about artists who are the best person to ask about the art that they produce. Janny G is one of them. When I first met Janny, her arms were crossed, and we had a little debate of our own, which I won't go into, but we're great friends now, and she's an amazingly successful artist, and she is a charming lady. But one of the things that'll dazzle you about is that when you see her art, there's more than just looking at it, which is why if you're going to ask Janny to do your charity event, do a painting or a demo or something, you need to have her present at your event. And that is her, for example, we donate a painting. Let's say we say, hey, we're going to donate a painting. this isn't her demos, but like, let's say you walk up to Jenny and you say, oh, I've got this charity event and I'd really love for you to donate a painting for it. And for that, I'm going to let you go to the $1,500 a plate gala. Why? Because you're the artist. You want that. That is a small price to pay to have someone there to talk up that piece of art so that people get enthusiastic. So when the bidding starts, they bid high. You see what I'm saying? So Janny's art is really special because she's really adamant about recycled materials. So a lot of times her art will incorporate recycled materials so that the environment is incorporated in a lot of her work, and the things that might be damaging to the environment become pieces of her art. One of my favorite pieces she's ever painted is this whale. I think it's either a humpback or a gray whale, but the whale is made. It's a dimensional piece, and it's made out of a garbage bag. So here's something that could really do horrible things to the environment, but in this beautiful painting that she has, this whale is a garbage bag that she has worked with to incorporate this bag into her painting. And I've never forgotten it. I've absolutely thought it was cool. But she does other things too, like, paper items, cardboard, Scrabble pieces. It's very, very clever art. So I hope you will see this name right here and go check out this art. She's from Canada. It's beautiful and very inspiring, very colorful. And I've been a fan of her since the very beginning, even when her arms were crossed and she was looking at me. Sometimes it's good for an artist to put you through your paces, because then you see what you're made of, right? Yeah, and now she's amazing. She's always been amazing, but I kind of have the ability to release the beast in artists so that they go out and they become tigers and do great stuff. She did great stuff, but a lot of people didn't know it, and now more and more of Canada knows about it because she came out like a lion. She created with confidence, right? Yeah, she's a rock star. She's a rock star. Great, happy Easter, my love, Jenny. I love you. Joseph says, good morning, Terry. Don't even get me started about D23. I was only able to get a one-day Sunday convention-only pass. I've never had such problems getting tickets for any Disney event in the past 30 years, starting with the Disneyana conventions. I've even been able to get into all of the Haunted Mansion, Holiday, and Diva events with dinner inside the mansion, but not this year with D23. And you are not alone, my love. My dear friend and tribe member, Michelle Donnell, had the same trouble, and she was almost hysterical when she called me on Wednesday night. And I said to her, I don't have any shortcuts, but you step up on Thursday and you just fight the fight again. And she did, and she got a Sunday. She was exhausted, and I'm sure you are too. You wish that they could do this in a more efficient manner, but I cannot speak to it because I back away from it. I'm not a fan of the D23 event unless I'm a guest. Doesn't that sound a little narcissistic? It's not. It's just that as a guest, I know that at least when you're in Vendors Alley, they will do the best to take good care of you. However, the last time that we were in the Vendors Alley at D23, it was terrible because they had kicked out all the cool vendors and the not so cool vendors. No offense to the museum. Family Museum is always cool. And Mice Chat is always cool. Those guys, but they had to jump through some hoops like circus dogs to get their booths. So I don't know what the attitude with the booths are right now. They wouldn't tell me what the booths cost when I started to fill out the booth thing and find out if I was even eligible. But you don't want to be going through all of this trouble creating a booth so you can sell your wares to people, right? Give them some good stuff and find out it's $5,000 or $6,000 a day. You've done all that work and then it's 5 or 6. I'm not saying it is, but what I am saying is that I didn't want to do all that work, find out I didn't want to pay the money in the first place. So I backed off and said, if I'm invited, I'll go. If I'm not, I'll be outside and see you guys out there. That's the way I feel, Joseph. But congratulations to you. My heart goes out to you because, like I said, many of you wrote to me that very same story. No, I mean, it took forever getting my results. I kept rescheduling the appointment over and over. I know. And what some places are saying is that they don't have enough staff. Is that what they told you, Joe? Because this is what my husband and I are getting is we don't have enough staff. I have a doctor who will come to my house, and I keep calling for the appointment. They go, we don't have any, but we'll call you when we do. We'll call you when we do. And I'm just going to start calling them, driving them insane. When a movie was shot in my neighborhood in southern Utah, I watched for hours. It was amazing. It is, because you get to see what the setups do, what it takes to set it up, what kind of cameras, who is what, first AD, second AD, director, costumer, transportation, all of that. It's a fun thing to do, and I never tire of it. Never, ever, ever. So you're absolutely right. When the assistant director turned around and yelled quiet, I was the only person there, and I was standing about 5 feet behind him. Yeah, it's habit, right? Quiet. Your hair goes like this. Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Yvonne says, hello, Yvonne. I wish my daughter was up to hear your words. You are always so inspirational. Thank you, Yvonne. But you know that this is broadcasting live on YouTube. So when she does wake up, just look for this video that says a car commercial right on my street, and you'll know this is the one. I haven't learned, and I apologize to you all, how to do chapter stops. I've started to see some YouTubes where you can actually find the stop and the chapter will start right where you want it. So I will learn that, and if I am eligible, because sometimes you have to be at certain levels to be eligible for certain perks on YouTube. So if I'm not quite eligible because I don't have enough followers, please follow me, and we can get those in there. I don't know if that's part of it though, so don't join. Join because you love it, not because I'm begging you to give me those stops on my timeline. Please. Thank you, Yvonne, for those kind words. I wasn't paying the $2,600 for the 3-day package. Can't afford that. Wow, that was the 3-day package. What happened? Did they charge it? Because that's not what I heard from my group. Yikes! I wouldn't be paying that either, dude. No, you can get some really good stuff on the outside. If one of the things that's super cool is they have separated the Honda Center with all of the big shows. They put all the big shows in the Honda Center, or the pond, if you will, and they put the more intimate panels that you can go to, and the dealers' rooms and stuff in the convention center. So if you don't want to go to the Honda Center at all, you can still go to this. And I heard the tickets were pretty reasonable. So, but I don't know if there's any left. And are people scalping them now? Gee, mini Christmas, really? I posted about some Disneyland memories this week on my page in my group, and the response to my post about the Tahitian Terrace has been pretty incredible and positive. Disneyland really needs to bring back the Tahitian Terrace. Joe, they got to pay people to do the Tahitian Terrace, and they don't want to. The Tahitian Terrace was a place where you had actual fire dancers and actual people who danced from Hawaii. They were from the Hawaiian Islands and various islands, and they did their or Tahiti in some cases, and they did their dancing and everything. It was my favorite restaurant, the only restaurant I would go to when I was a kid. I was really good friends with the fire dancer and the woman who was the MC for the show. And I would go as often as I could. My mother loved the Monte Cristo sandwich, and I didn't care what I ate as long as it was fish. And I just loved it. I loved it. And when they said that they were leaving, I knew it was because they were a group of union people, and they were not getting their fees anymore. So that's when it went to a character restaurant, as you may remember. I'm sure you do because you know Disney history quite well. And this was because they were paying these people smaller, less wages. They didn't have to pay the professionals. I mean, you certainly don't want anybody throwing fire around. You need a professional. And he was union, and he had health care, and he was amazing. And it was the finest restaurant at Disneyland, in my opinion. I liked it better than the Blue Bayou. I have to tell you, I really did. It was my go-to restaurant. My parents would say, "Why don't we go over here?" And I'd go, "Nope, Tahitian Terrace." "Why don't we go?" "Nope, Tahitian Terrace." Every time I went to Disneyland, and I couldn't, when I was younger, go to Disneyland that often because my parents had to save up to go to Disneyland, just like today. It really didn't change much. It was always a little bit more at least for my family it was. So I feel for your families too, as you have to hawk the car, sell your firstborn to go in some cases. Please don't sell your firstborn. Your firstborn will not appreciate it. Take them to Knott's instead. I hear they're pretty reasonable still. Are they still? And a lot of Disney people are over there. So it's kind of like the second, Billy Hill and the Hillbillies are over there, which used to be one of my favorite groups. And they call themselves something else, but they're over there. So you can see a lot over there if it gets to be too hard for your budget. I get it. I love Disneyland. But what a heartbreaker that, the little kids can't go, Well, sorry, y'all have to go. Have a very happy Easter. Jacob, you too. You too. And Easter weekend, I will Monday. Okay. Bye, y'all. And remember, he died on the cross to save our sins and arose back on Easter Sunday to save us all. Happy Easter. I love you all. And just like Pooh's friends, Tigger says, TTYL, ta-ta for now. Isn't that nice? Ta-ta, y'all. Super sweet, huh? Yeah, you can't go there. She was 5 then. Yeah, see? And she gives me an X. Just, that's a hug, meaning that, I'm not dissing you. I'm just correcting you gently. Jenna's a great lady. And Bella's as sweet as pie. Yeah. Her being 5, I think now she's 15 or something. Anyway, we've known each other for a long time. So I'm wanting to get out to see her. Yeah, I'm pretty eager to go see her because we've been away for too long. Yeah, then the pandemic hit and really messed things up. Hello, the Janet Joyce. Happy Easter, everyone. This is what I kind of think of. Right here, she says, this is Janet Joyce, just in case her picture didn't show up, because sometimes your picture does and sometimes it doesn't. And we've got a major thing happening coming up with Facebook, but it doesn't affect you here, but it affects groups. Anyway, I think if you put the in front of some of the things that mean people said to you, like, gosh, you're such a nerd, and you say, I'm not a nerd, I'm the nerd. Or, like the panda, Kung Fu Panda is always being called the big fat panda, and it hurts his feelings. But then when he becomes the ultimate, carrier and guardian of China, he says, I'm not a big fat panda, I'm the big fat panda. And I think if you said that, even if it's just to yourself, I'm not a nut, I'm the nut. I'm not a goofball, I'm the goofball. I think it might make you feel better. I don't know, try it in front of the mirror. Don't try it on public like I'm doing right now. I'm not a giggler, I'm the giggler. But anyway, I just think that that could make you feel better inside, I'm not a, I'm the, so I don't know. Just my thoughts. The Janet Joyce. Thank you. You're a love. Absolutely a love. Happy Easter. Yvonne says, we met you at D23 in 2016 and you gave my daughter the best advice about art and the mistakes. And I'm always reminding her about that. She's an artist now and 18. Yay. Thank you for sharing that. It's not that I don't like being at D23. I just like being a guest there. I like to be invited. And here's why, because a lot of times they'll put me in a spot where I can help them as much as I'm helping myself. You follow? And just like your daughter came up and she wanted to know, and as I remember, a bit shy. I don't remember her exactly, but I know that when you're a young artist, you wonder, what do I do with this passion that I have? Where do I put it? How do I make it grow? And do I deserve? I mean, I don't know that an artist will say, do I deserve to make a living doing what I love, or do I need to suffer or work harder more? And I don't even know if that's the word. Suffer is kind of a interesting word. I can't imagine people go, I got to work this job because I need to suffer. I mean, I don't think that's what you do, but I think that's what you do when you say, like, if you have parents, and this is not you, Yvonne, obviously, but you have parents that are so terrified that you're going to be a broke artist. They just are so scared. So from a very young age, they're trying to dissuade you from being an artist and more towards being something else. Soul, the movie Soul, Disney Soul, doesn't she do the same thing? And he's like, oh, Mom, I want to be a jazz musician. And he's really good. But she really wants him to be the music teacher where he doesn't feel like he's inspiring anyone. And yet he is. He really is inspiring. In fact, everything can happen for a reason. And here and in Soul, it's a fabulous movie that kind of teach you about, loving the world, stopping and smelling the roses, taking time for yourself. One of the things that I mentioned, I'm a Patreon ambassador, and this means that I get to help some really high-end Patreon members. And I pinch myself because I'm surprised. I don't have a lot of members, but what I do have in the tribe is number one, amazing people. And they stay with me. So I think that's the main reason that they asked me. But one of the things I notice about the young upcoming artists, if I may, because Yvonne brings this up and I think I should speak on it, is that you're very anxious. You worry so much. And in this world, I can see that happening. Okay. I'm not saying this is not, you being anxious is a result of the way the world is working a little bit today. I mean, some social media where they attack at every moment, or they have an opinion on everything you do, whether you've asked for it or not, they just open up. I mean, you're Beyonce and they're ragging on your album because you decided to change lanes. Like it's none of your business, and she did a great job. Okay. This is the way I feel as a 66, almost 67-year-old woman. But when you're young, you have a tender, your underbelly. You don't have your armor built yet. You have this tender underbelly, and you want people to like what you do, and you want people to like what you are, and you kind of say, you're anxious. Will they? What if this doesn't make money? What if I go against my parents? My parents are worried because I'm going to be a broke artist, even though I don't know what book they read that told them that. But don't get that. Try hard not to have that in your brain. Do you know what I mean? Don't pick that book up. Broke Art 101. No, don't just leave that book on the shelf. Don't grab it. And whatever you do, don't read the Broke Artist book. Okay. Don't read it. I'm begging you. Believe. And belief is not enough. Okay. You've got to fight for what you want. You got to fight. If you feel it in your heart and it's coming out through your fingers, I don't care what it is. If you are creating, someone out there's going to love it. And if not, who cares? You will. You're having fun. How do you feel when you're creating your art? Great, right? I do. Not all of my stuff is good. More often than not, it's pretty good. But I like it. It's good because I'm having a good time. So if you get that anxiety in your body, you're like this, and you're starting to shake because you're worried about whatever you're worried about. I want you to promise yourself somewhere in the area where you work, take a break. Time for you to take a break. Anxious? Take a break. Okay. And I know it's going to be difficult because I've done it myself. All right. I'm telling you from experience, you need to get up from the chair, take a breath, leave your work here, and go out and sit on a swing, sit on the porch, visit with your family, play with your baby, sister, brother, whatever, ride a bike, take a walk, look at nature, look at the flowers, look at the animals. I have this thing where I'm fascinated by certain creature behavior. I told you I love animals. So, one thing the pandemic did when we were isolated was create massive amounts of animals, and also bigger. So, my squirrels that used to be little like this are like as big as my dog. And when they run across my roof, the roof shakes because they're so big. But it's been really fun to watch them communicate with each other and play, because I can actually hear them going thump, 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 and to each other, you know. I think this, I can sit for hours and listen to those squirrels argue. Okay. Or they look at my dog and they're communicating as they look at my dog, because my dog is a 10-pound, a little 10-pound Yorkie Schnauzer mix. And they're probably saying, don't you think that's a meal? I don't know. It doesn't look like a meal, but it certainly doesn't look like a dog. You know what I mean? And the tail, you know how they go. So what I'm saying as an artist is you are a viewer of everything. What goes through your eyes is going through a creative mind. So go out and experience what's out there. A bee landing on a flower, or a fly, washing his little head and his eyes. Flies are disgusting, but they really are fun to watch, because they wash their little wings, and they do, they're all this, like, they're like that big. And they're like, you think they'd be cleaner than they are, but they usually do all this stuff standing on poop. So you're like, somehow you're incongruous, buddy. But what I'm saying is nature is very interesting. Flowers, just in the way they unfold, in the way that they are. I have a friend who lives across the street who has a little patch of California poppies, and I love the California poppies. I just think they're such an interesting flower. What do they got, like 4 waxy petals or something? And they're all twisted up, and then they go blah, and it's like orange color, So it's interesting. One of the things I love in my backyard is I got lots of lizards. Okay, I really love lizards. Lizards just are the comedians of the world. And right now we are coming into spring, which means that mating season is happening. So the big lizards are starting to do their thing. Like this, and they walk around like this, and they look up at you like this, and you go, hey man, I'll let you cross. They cross again, But if they see a lady, they start the native dance, and they do their little lizard native dance. And they're doing their thing. And it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a head thing. It's a body thing. It's a tail thing. And it's really fun to watch them dance for the ladies. And they just crack me up. And if I walk up, then they see this human and they go, you're cramping my style. And so you go, oh, sorry. And you back away. And they come in all shapes and sizes. And you can usually tell the male from the female, because the male is dancing and the female's kind of like. But I'm just saying, across the board, because you have a creative brain, because you have a creative mind, you will relax. The cat who sits on top of your covered jacuzzi tub, because it's an older cat, and his bones are weary, and you know that the heat is coming from your jacuzzi tub through that cover, and that is a nice little warming pad for the cat that's walking around the neighborhood, keeping your rat population down. All good, man. So from the grass to the flowers to the trees to the birds and the bees, which sounds a little strange, to the cats, to the lizards, to all kinds of different nature things. It's just amazing. Tree bark, everything. You just start to really look at it, grab a cup of coffee or tea or whatever, water, and just sit there and take a moment to look around and listen to the views and the sounds around you. And you'll be amazed at how your body calms And then you go back into where you're going to create again, and your mind is fresh and free, and boom, you got it. One thing I'm going to highly advise you to do is don't take your phone. Okay? Because the phone has a magnet to your hand attached to it. And if it dings, you're going to answer it, you're going to look at it. And a lot of times this can create anxiety just by looking at the screen. Whether it has a message that's good or not, just leave your phone somewhere else. And if you can leave your phone in another room while you're creating, even better. Now, in my case, I have a mom in a convalescent hospital, so I worry, I get concerned, so I have to have the dings, but every time it dings, like electricity. So it doesn't help with the anxiety. I hope that helps. I hope that's helpful. That was a long version, but I wanted to walk you through, because for me, like today we woke up and the clouds were pink. So beautiful. And so much gold coming in my front window from the sun. We also have crows, which are just so funny. And a group of crows is called a murder. So the crows are like do 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 do, and they're just, they're fun. And then once in a while you get a raven. That's the one that does that sound, and you'll know because he's usually in a tree and you don't necessarily always see him, but he's the one that goes instead of so you can see why I love animals. You can already see my passion for animals. My mom is doing very well, but that's why the phone is the way it is. Yeah. Rayanne booked Bella's 13th party today. Oh my gosh, 13. So she's 13. See, she acts like she's 15. She is having a paintball day with all her friends, then a party in a tent after. Hopefully the weather will be good on July 1st. I'm going to say yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I did a paintball party. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I did a paintball party. I did one of those laser tag. That's what I did. I did a laser tag party. That was pretty fun. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but my friends thought it would be a good idea, and so I did it for my friends, and it turned out to be fun. Yeah, I also did a dance party in a semi-truck. My cousin had a 18-wheeler, so we parked by a lake, and we lit it all up, and we had a dance party in the trailer, came out and cooked hot dogs, hamburgers, and we were right by Handsome Dam area. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. So, Bella, you're on the right track, girlfriend. Happy Easter, Terry. Don't eat too much chocolate bunnies. No, I won't. But I'll eat a lot of salmon or sushi. What is my favorite candy? See's candy if it's chocolate, or a little French place in Paris. I love theirs too. But sour gummies are really tough for me to resist. So I try to keep them away from me because I have trouble not eating the whole bag. Sour gummies are really good. Oh, shame on. I like that. I like sour. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. I didn't even breathe. Breathe. Terry, no, I was the one who kept delaying getting my test results. No staffing problems with my healthcare provider. I just kept pushing the date back for a variety of reasons, but finally I went and met with the doctor. Good for you for stepping up and owning it, Joe. I really thought they were doing it to you, but what a good person you are to point out that it was all your fault. Good for you for saying, I got to stop this. Chocolate bunnies. Gianna, he's going, yum, yum. All that's left is the Honda Center Convention 3-day passes. I believe the tickets left are either 21. It's awful, Joseph. Now, let me tell you something, Joseph. My tribe member, one of my tribe members said, oh, no, it was a client of mine, said that there might be tickets available 3 days before the event because sometimes people turns theirs in. So you might want to check on August 7th because I think it starts the 11th, right? Or if it's 9th through the 11th. So 3 days before the 9th, which would be the 6th, 7th, 8th. Yeah, try that. Okay, you might be able to get a ticket. According to someone who talked to my client, that could be a chance to get one. Will it be a Saturday or a Sunday? No say, senor. I don't know. But it would be worth a try if you'd like. One last try in August before the event. Also, remember, if you're a D23 member, there are some events that are possible close to those 3 days that I guess they're going to be letting us know about. A Angel Game, a Disneyland Day, which, if you're at Disneyland, you could celebrate that. And then finally, one that it means like good food and drink, which is the one I'm kind of interested in. So that could be the thing that you do. So think about it. Okay, you are doing the Sunday thing, so why not, right? Okay, Diane. Happy Easter, everyone. Have a safe weekend. Gotta go. Yeah, how did you know I was going to say the same thing? Happy Easter. Bye for now. Love you guys. Okay, well, doesn't want to pay people anymore, that they should just well, if Disney doesn't want to pay people anymore, they should just demolish Disneyland and shut down all the film and television shows, and then they won't have to pay anyone anymore because they won't be in business. However, there would be a mutiny on their hands because out in the real world, everyone loves these parks. They do. They love them. And so I hope for a happy medium, which seems to be occurring in some cases, right? And there's Jeanette. Happy Easter. Please tell me when you go to Paris. I've never been and I need a tour of the Dragon. I am looking, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm looking to go. I'm got a call tomorrow with a couple of my friends in the UK, and then I'm going to try. Let me say that again. There is no try. I am going to attempt to do a tour in May, and I do want to swing by Paris. So I will let you know as soon as I've got those dates close. Okay. Keep bugging me in it. Okay. Cause always good to keep bugging me. Things come across the bow that I don't necessarily remember. Bob says they filmed a movie here with Jan Michael Vincent, Victoria Principal, and Chris Christopherson, and Bernadette Peters. They were pretty big at the time. Indeed, they are. They are indeed. They are indeed. Don't feel bad if someone corrects you, Bob. With Chris's name. They're doing it with love. But anyway, yeah. Those are fun, right? I was working at Magic Mountain when they did Griffin and Phoenix. You remember that movie with that's so funny. Peter Falk and who was the lady? She was so nice. It's funny that I remember him because he was kind of being mean, and I scolded him for being mean. But it was great. It was a fun movie, and they actually came and did a little scene at the glass shop I was working at. Yeah, remind me, and I'll tell you that story next time too. Bob Berdine, which movie was that? Okay, look, Joe didn't get you. He didn't get you, Bob. Happy Friday, happy Easter, says Stacy. Same to you, my love. If not a whole, I'm the. There you go. You got it, Joe. You got it. Hello, Vince. Hello, beautiful, he says. He says, happy Good Friday. I say the same. Crap, I'm not I'm not a you got to watch this one. He's our comedian in the group. He's too much. Hello, Steve Russo. Happy Easter. Good to see you, my dear. Here's something fun to do anytime you hear someone in a movie or TV show so you just don't get it, do you? Give yourself 2 points. Jot it down on paper. At the end of the year, tally up your score. Oh, that's fun. You just don't get it, do you? I just don't. Sometimes I just don't get it. Isn't that cute? Joe, you're so clever. Sorry, gotta go. Happy Easter. Talk to you tomorrow. Indeed, you will. Joe says you like gummies too. It's okay with sour gummies, but I just love gummies. They are good, but they have to be the right kind, don't they? Especially the gummy worms at CVS. Okay. So you like those. I always eat the whole bag, usually within a day. That's why I keep them away. And I don't go into bookstores often because I cannot come out of a bookstore without $100 in books. So I don't go anymore. Yeah, I just don't. I listen to you guys when books are good. I think Annette is following me now. I think it's her. It's either her or another lady who's a friend of yours, Terry. I'm sure it's her. She's a wonderful gal. Give her some kindness over there. I know spelling has never been my string point, my string pot. I love the way you say that, buddy. Deanna! Hi, all on my way to Clearwater to see sand sculptures. Good for you. I used to do a lot of sand sculpting, basically teaching others how to do it. Why? Because I love to. Have fun, sweetie. Vigilante Force was the movie, Joe. Guys, I love you. You're amazing. I was going to get off here a little bit earlier. I've got to go see my mom in the hospital. Happy Easter. Guys, if you are in Southern California, please be careful. It's supposed to be a rainy, windy, thunder, cold. Did I say windy? Day. So please be careful. Don't drive distracted. Watch out for other people who are crazier. The craziest drivers ever. Be careful, okay? I used to live in bookstores back in the 80s and 90s, just hanging out there forever. Yeah, I'll tell you, a killer for me is the word first edition. That's a have me at a low moment, let me tell you. Joe says, happy Easter. Guys, do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. And I will see you Monday. Happy Easter. Stay safe, stay dry, and we will talk soon. Rain in Southern California. Stay inside. See, he's doing the talk. We're walking the walk. Bye for now.